The past few years have surely seen some ups and downs, market swings, inflation spikes, pandemic fallout, shortages, wars, you name it, and it has happened. And all those challenges have many contemplating their financial outlook, especially those who are retired or nearing retirement. So what can be done to have a more successful retirement? Joining us to discuss this is Gary Mattson and Laurel Stewart, the father-daughter team at Mattson Financial Services, a firm that's been helping people retire successfully right here in West Michigan for decades. You can also watch them on their popular radio show, Money Mentors. And so, Gary, Laurel, what should those who are at the point of retirement be on the lookout for?
Boy, there's so many pieces of that puzzle. And it's really about making sure the plan's complete. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, when you put a puzzle together, the easiest piece is always the last piece. And the hardest one is, where do you start from? So if you're just entering the retirement, you're going to look at it and saying, this is all new. I thought we had everything done. Now we're starting with a whole new set of situations or problems, if you would. And we look at problems of opportunities. So again, making sure you have income that lasts you throughout retirement. And then there's all little pieces that we're going to be talking about. Yes,
it's like a retirement checklist. And you said income, so let's start there.
Yeah, and income, you know, if we go back to kind of your puzzle piece reference, I like to start with the corners of the outside edges, because then I can get the framework in. And I think the same should be said for your retirement plan. So we talk about, you know, Rachel, what are your dreams, goals, and desires? What is it you're going to be doing in retirement? Because if you say, I want $5,000 a month, great, but what are you going to be doing with that? And are we going to come up short? So we want to make sure that it's accurate. So we start with that discussion, and that leads us into income, knowing that we need X amount as your critical income need every month, just like you did while you're working. And then we look towards the lifestyle items side of it. So, you know, what vacations you want to go on, or maybe you're not a traveler and you want to start a book. We have a client who's writing a book. So whatever your passion is, we'll follow that lifestyle side of things.
Yeah, okay, so further going down the retirement checklist, one thing to consider, healthcare costs.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
And that gets kind of, people don't realize that that can, by the amount of money you're taking out, can actually give you more Medicare taxes. And so that's the one least people look at and they go, well, I just got socked with new Medicare taxes. Well, because you have this income. So we look at it from the standpoint is, how can we give you the income you want and desire, as well as making sure we pay the least amount of money in taxes. So there's really different tax buckets and strategies we use depending upon the client. We want to start that as soon as possible to get those buckets set up. Now, it's really based upon the client and where they're at of how much we can do, but we're going to look at it every single year. So tax-free, tax-deferred, of course tax-free is always nicest, and then taxable. So those are the three buckets. We have different tools that we use within those buckets to make sure we're giving you the appropriate amount of money at the right time.
Yeah, on that list, portfolio management is very important too. Kind of keeping track of all that.
Yeah, and I actually had a conversation with one of our radio listeners a few weeks back, and he said, I'm calling because I'm in stocks and bonds, and my advisor said my only other option at this point, because they're both going down, is to move to cash. And he said, I've heard you talk about diversification, and that's where it comes back to, because there has to be another strategy out there, rather than having a conversation to say, we can't do anything else, we're going negative, so just go to cash. Because we know inflation, if it's at 8.5%, you have a $500,000 portfolio, that's over $42,000 then you're just losing, right, with purchasing power. So we have a different philosophy. If it's appropriate, obviously we're going to tell you to move to cash if that's where you feel, but we like to look at a strategy to say, where can we buy in at? You know, what does the yield look like? Can we give you some dividend returns in there too? But we've got a plethora of different ideas out there to make sure you're taking advantage of the volatility.
And one thing that we do have to mention is taxes, because in conversations we had, this always comes up. And sometimes people don't pay enough attention to that.
And not just not pay attention to it, but they don't really understand they have a choice. And so when the market's down, like we've seen the volatility, that's a great time to take advantage of tax harvesting or repositioning assets. So let's look at, you've got $1,000 in an IRA, and then the market takes away 20% of that. Now it's down to $800. That's the best time to pay the taxes on it, move it into the Roth IRA. Then when the market comes back, you get that equal value, and you're not paying taxes on it anymore. So again, there's opportunities when the market's down. There's all those same opportunities we want to look at when the market's up. So are we going to be harvesting taxes, losses? Are we going to be harvesting a better position for future income?
Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of things on the checklist, probably even more than we mentioned. So how do you help our viewers get to their best spot in retirement or when they're nearing retirement.
For the first 5 callers, if you've saved $500,000 or more for retirement, what we're doing is we're offering you a complete enhanced plan. And so we talked about a checklist. We have a checklist to get them prepared to bring into the office, and just have, start thinking about what do you want to do in retirement. Or you're one of those people maybe who are already retired, living out some of your dreams, but maybe something's off, like the tax piece perhaps. So we can give you that second opinion there as well.
Yeah, it sounds good. So for you at home, take advantage of that special offer from Mattson Financial and make sure you're covered on your retirement checklist. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, Gary, Laurel, and the rest of the team will sit down with you personally to customize a retirement plan just for you. Now, this is a comprehensive plan that includes a look at your taxes, your investments, your income sources, and so much more to help you get to and through that retirement that you deserve. So call now, 616-514-3831. That's 616-514-3831. And so, Gary, Laurel, it's been great talking with you today and helping us get prepared for our best future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This segment is sponsored by Mattson Financial Services. We'll be right back with more 8 West.
This is 8 West.